Hi YouTube, today I'm going to be filming my video on Venus in Capricorn. So the Venus in a woman's chart is how she acts when she has a love interest. So if a woman's Venus is in Capricorn, she acts more like a Capricorn when she likes someone. And if the man has a Venus in Capricorn, he likes a woman that has more Capricornian qualities and he's attracted to this. And if the Mars is kind of how the man acts when he likes someone. So if a man has a Mars in Capricorn, he acts like a Capricorn to get with the love interest that he likes. And then if a woman's Mars is in Capricorn, she likes men that have more Capricornian qualities. So the Venus is how the woman acts, and the Venus in a man's chart is kind of what he wants. So Venus in Capricorn people give this very responsible vibe. They like to control their lives and kind of like the situations. They want to predict like the relationship, how it's going to go, kind of. They need like that kind of sense that it's going to work out. They're very practical people when it comes to love matters. And in fact, they don't actually mind being alone. These people are very private and reserved in public, and they actually care a lot about how they are seen in public and how other people perceive them. And they're very cautious. They like to keep that cool, calm, collected vibe in front of people. That's like the description to describe Capricorn to like the T. That's what kind of attracts them. That kind of what attracts people to them is that they give off this cool vibe. That they have everything under control, that they don't need to act spontaneous or anything, So these people aren't very expressive with their emotions. They like to keep that all in control, so that can kind of block what they're feeling because, the moon is the emotions and then the Venus is kind of how those feelings are expressed. So definitely there can be some blockage when it comes to expressing your feelings. And at times they can come across as a little bit cold and calculating when it comes to love. So in a relationship, they may not be the most affectionate, but once you warm up to them and once they've warmed up to you, that's mainly the main problem. Like, you could be all about a Capricorn, but for a Venus in Capricorn to really like you, you have to be goal orientated. You have to be responsible, because these people focus on their goals and their money. They want love later in life, or a lot of Venus and Capricorns get into relationships later in life because they have goals and they have these visions of where they want to be. So they want to establish that first. And if they haven't, they may look for a partner that has. They want a partner that is well established. They can go for a little bit of the status ranking, what partner suits me the best, what partner is close to like the goals that I want to achieve, things like that. They may not look like romantic, just because of how cool and calm and collected that they actually are. That they are seen to be. But the thing is that they are very private, but that's publicly. These people can be very affectionate in private, when they're with their partner just by themselves. They're not so much of the PDA type, but more of like, let's keep our business to ourselves, by ourselves. They separate it, So even though they can come across as rigid and all that and very like hard-headed and focused on their goals, they do want marriage and they do crave that intimacy and affection, So when it comes to finding that, they want one partner. These people look for that marriage, They want that whole traditional love, like we dated, now we're married, now we have the white picket fence and we have the kids and we have the jobs, like the lawyer, the doctor. Like this is the kind of relationship that these people like. And they are willing to commit, but for them, it's kind of like takes time for them to build up to that relationship. They really need to feel it out before they can tie the knot. And they do want to tie the knot. These people get into relationships wanting to manifest the relationship to grow. They want the marriage to manifest into a marriage. So for them, it's all about security, stability, they are dependable. You know, you call a Venus and Capricorn up saying, "Hey, I need a ride here," or, "Hey, I need you to help me with this." They'll most likely be there. So they spend a lot of time, and they're very picky about their partners because they want someone that's like them. They want someone that's goal oriented. They want someone that's responsible, someone that's dependable, someone that um looks for that marriage. They tend to look for more serious partners because this is what they're about. You know, they're kind of more about like climbing the mountain. So they can come off very serious, but they have a very goofy side to them too. You know, they can be very warm and tender and loving and affectionate when they let their guard down and they let their defenses down because they don't want to seem weak and vulnerable. Their Venus is in a cardinal sign, you know. These people want to seem strong, in control of their emotions, in control of their affections, in control of anything, you know. So when the Venus is here, they want to seem very, you know, very responsible, very head on straight. So they look for people that are like this. So even though they can attract very emotional partners because there's something about that stability and security, those vibes that they give off, they're very stable. A lot of emotional partners like this. They like, oh, security. But this can often make the Capricorn Venus run, but it also intrigues them. You know, it's kind of like that emotional side that they have, but they don't show. So they can be attracted to very emotional people as well. And yes, they can be very blunt. Capricorn kind of says it how it is, says what they're feeling how it is, says what they mean how it is. You know, they don't want to beat around the bush. They aren't liars, but they do this more in a respectful manner, you know, not to hurt anybody's feelings. They want to make sure everything's good. They care about how they come off in public, you know. So they show their affections through actions because sometimes they can't meet your emotional needs. So when they care about you, they'll show this through what they do for you, what they give to you know, just like that stuff through their actions. These people are doers. They aren't like the sayers that say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and they never do it. They're going to tell you that they're going to do this, and then they're going to go show you that they're going to do this, you know? So passionate people can intimidate them at times, but it's also like that passion that they want, the passion that they lack. So along with that, material wealth and material items, because they aren't our signs, so materialistic things, they tend to lean towards. This gives them that sense of security. So when it comes to relationships, they may look for someone that has a lot of money, or maybe not a lot of money, but just a steady income, or they look for partners that already have that steady job or already have like that steadiness and that reliability. They need this because they want to achieve this in their own life. These are very independent people, you know, and they want someone that helps them grow in this area, you know, because when a Capricorn isn't achieving their goals and isn't taking care of their finances and is really lacking in that department, they can be very hard on themselves. Generally, Capricorn is already hard on themselves because they're ruled by Saturn. So when someone helps them with this, they appreciate that a lot. And when they have someone to look up to that strives in this area of security, they may lean towards this person more. Now, they can be very reserved and they can look very conservative. You know, Venus and Capricorn is the one to wear the nice clothes and have their appearance looking very presentable, very conservative, you know. But when they are alone, they are kind of the complete opposite sometimes, you know. They can just kick it, chill, relax, and all of that stuff. So yeah, they definitely like a partner that is like this as well. You know, in public, they have their head on straight. They looked very put together. They have all like in the public eye, you know, they're seen very financially stable, very emotionally stable, very smart. These people love smart people and they actually charm people by their wit. You know, Capricorns have this kind of blunt wit to them that like it's really funny because how they say it can come off so serious, but it's like, well, you know, they say it's so serious that it's so funny, because some people wouldn't say it so blunt and they would say it more jokingly. Sometimes Capricorns can actually say the things that nobody else would say. They point out the obvious that sometimes, like, oh, people stray away from, but they have no problem saying what they mean. They want that old-fashioned love. They want that genuine, trustworthy, dependable, I want a family with you love. So if you like a Venus in Capricorn, definitely show them that you are responsible and that you are in control, and show them your goals, show them what you've accomplished. Don't necessarily just tell them what you want to do and just try to win them over by that, because these people love when these people are more attracted to people that are about the action, the people that show that they're worthy and all of that. So definitely, if you like a Venus in Capricorn, go for this. And now, if a Venus in Capricorn likes you, this is going to be hard to tell, because Venus in Capricorn isn't so much that goo goo gaga, like all over about that love. They don't although they fantasize about all that, like love and romance and all that, and they can be very romantic, when they let their guard down and they're with the right person, they can, because they do crave that. But for the most part, they don't show it. So they're not all about that flashy, all that love romantic thing at first. This can kind of scare them because it's so straightforward on that lovey-dovey idealistic thing about love that everyone talks about, and don't show them that automatically, seem very mature, seem very cool and calm and collected, just how they would, but don't try too hard. They don't like fake and superficial people. They like real, genuine, down-to-earth people, because they are like this as well. So it's hard to tell if a Capricorn likes you because they won't act on it very quickly. They take their time to build up the courage to talk to you, because at times they're very practical. They're like, no, this isn't going to work out. No, this isn't going to work out. This is what's going to work out. I should not say it because they're going to reject me. This is like a Capricorn kind of thing that they do, So being someone that's very cool and easy to talk to, they're going to really appreciate this, and they're really going to like this, because that nervousness that love gives them can be very overwhelming for them. So if you're someone that they can talk to and open up to easily, they'll most likely lean towards you when it comes to looking at who they want to marry and who they want to date. Don't be so clingy all the time. These are very independent people, and that are fine with going out and doing what they have to do by themselves. And if you're all about them all the time and all up on them all the time, they can get a little bit uncomfortable. They want someone that's reliable and honest and loyal. So don't mistake loyalty with independence. You don't need to go out and make them jealous to show that you don't need them. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for someone that can go to work and has their own set of friends, like their own separate lives apart from them. But when they're in private, it's like their own little world. It's their own little romantic world, something like that, Yeah, definitely. So be honest, offer security, and anything that I just said, that if you like a Venus in Capricorn, this is how you should act. These are how these people act as well. So if you have a Venus in Capricorn and this is what you're watching it, yeah, so how I was telling you how to act and all that. So it may be hard for them to tell you that they like you, but they'll most likely be very quiet about it too. They're not going to pounce on it automatically. They're not going to be like, I like you. This takes time for them to build up those feelings, and it takes time for them to know what they want. They have to feel out the water, and you won't know automatically. They might actually kind of avoid you, or they may not even show that they like you. They may be so serious in front of you, But if you like them, give them time. Definitely build up that ladder. They're an earth sign. They go about this slowly. And if you like them, go about it slowly too. Let them work their way there. So yeah, this was the Venus and Capricorn video. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.